What's good, y'all? Today is day 5 of the solitude challenge. Alright, it's very clear that I'm tired. Today's been a long day. I've got a lot done, though. Y'all know I was reading Uncle G earlier this week. We almost done with him, and we almost done with Skin in the Game. So that's almost 2 books in one weekend. I'll be done with them both by tomorrow. I definitely am ready to finish taking my notes on them. But I think today was the first day that I found something to be obsessed about. And when I say something, I think it's really understanding, myself first more than anything. But like there was this alignment of me kind of walking into all the things that I knew I needed to do. No conversation with myself, no what is that, procrastinating about it. It was just like pure energy there to get it done without anything taking me away from it. And I appreciate that, because I told y'all this thing started and it was some low energy starting. But I think as I continue to learn, I think my obsession is with the learning. Because the more that I learn, the more my own ignorance is exposed, and the more I get to pivot and do different, right? So I can empower myself. Like there is a discipline that's happening where I'm doing the engagement of learning things that, number one, I might not normally consume information wise, because I want to go in a different direction, but also just having the time to be alone, to have the bubble ups, the revelations, the in the moment moments that lead me to do other things that when I'm busy I don't make the space for. So this is a time where I'll be giving you my lessons and my reflections, and the relativity of truth is one thing that keeps coming up. Because the thing that's true for me may not be the thing that's true for you. I always use the analogy that if there's a building that's got 4 sides on it, and you place a person on each of those sides as that building burns, and then you ask them what happened, each of them is going to give you a different narrative of that story. But because they were at different places and their location is the change variable, that who's to say that each of them are not telling the truth? And when I think about that, it's just like, damn, there are more than one truth that can exist at a time. And that can be for yourself, and that can be for other people. And a person's actions and behaviors are motivated by their truth, what they believe, and how they want to use that to engage in the world. And so I just hope that everybody is mindful around what we believe and perceive to be the truth in all situations, because it is so directly connected to how we move and how we behave and how we show up in the world and for our people. And I recognize that truth can also be changing, right? Like it can also, yeah, it does. It's not like it's one thing and then it stays that way forever. But in our growing and in our learning and in our expansion, there should be an acknowledgement of that, right? So like we don't have to act like the understanding now is the understanding we've always had, and there's not this compounding that continues to happen. Because as we do that, like we get to expand too, and as our understanding expands, and so I'm putting that on. I'm putting all those things on that I just named because they're empowering for me in terms of owning my truth, owning what's real for me, owning how I am going to show up in the world and how I am showing up in the world, owning my goals and the things that I am working on and committed to, owning the things that, owning the truth about the existence of any of my reality. Like those things are important. And when I say owning, I don't want to talk about it in a possessive way, but more in a personal way. You know, more about what moves you, what animates you, what makes you want to produce or do better or show up or give or serve or any of those things. Because they're all in us. All of us really have that innate desire around different things. But we got to figure out what that thing is. And so for me today, it's just the learning more and more about myself and more about what I want to create and how to be able to do that. And it was just a beautiful experience for me, you know? And so I have been taking that and I have been looking at how to apply that. Where does it go? How does it fit? You know? And I don't know that I came up with the answer, but I do know that there was this other theme in the midst that was pervasive, to say the least, right? So this idea that love can only look one way, and that if we love people, that's gotta involve romance, or that's gotta involve something sexual. Like, I just want to say that I rebuke that. I resent it. I hate that idea, because it keeps us so limited as people. It keeps us from being able to talk about the expansiveness of all that comes from within us that we like to share and what that sharing is able to accomplish. And just making sure that, you know, it's enough space. But there's all these things where, I don't know, we try to make possession and ownership the central thing, but it's not. And instead of us doing our part so that we can expand around the things that will allow us to exist in the world more healthily and happily, instead we find ourselves angry and ready to go. So I don't know how to deal with that, because sometimes it should be like that. And then what do you do? So I start another one. Because if you can do one, you can do 10. And that's the whole concept of the 10X. And so I appreciate the ping.